1-3, it's the men's 400-meter freestyle B final.
B final for the men's 400 meters. Singaporean interest in lane number 3 for Darren Chan.
In lane number 2,
but we'll be introducing them one by one. Gary Pagino of the Philippines. Alongside Pagino will be Rino Saputra, who won his heat earlier on this morning. S9 classification. And then Darren Chan. That was the cheers you heard from the crowd.
That's the sound of a home crowd right there. Darren hyping himself up for his race.
Alongside him is a lad who's made it over the border, Dawan Fredan from Malaysia in lane 4. He's the fastest in terms of the pool on 5:01.07. Alongside him is Steven Swalang from Indonesia. Then Arnel Abba from the Philippines, an S9 category swimmer, 5:25.77. Himanshu Nandal from India, an S11 swimmer.
A reminder that the S11 swimmers have the tappers to tell them when they're touching the wall.
Those highly sophisticated pieces of machinery.
I could never buy them anywhere.
It's a tennis ball and a stick. And Sardar in lane 8 for Uzbekistan. Bakhtiarov giving his full nomenclature. Right, B final. Classes S6 to S14, all represented. Again, 8 lengths of the pool. Good dive from Darren Chan, and Darren Chan is the first to emerge in an early lead. If I remember this morning, he went off very quickly as well and faded quite significantly after 200 meters. But this time,
it seems a little bit more controlled.
It does seem a lot more controlled, doesn't it?
Definitely had a good feedback session with his coach, I'm sure.
Swalang inside of him, and Darren Chan from Singapore will turn in first place. And he's posted a first lap of 31.05. Quite right, he was inside 30 seconds if I recall, or just on 30 seconds, so he's slowed things down by a good second. It does look more controlled.
Definitely, by a mile. I hope this means that he's able to post a much better time than this morning. He has the second highest number of points for the heats.
Well, he's going to turn in P1, and his split time of 1:07.24 will be just under 4 seconds clear of Dawan Fredan and Swalang. So it's very much an ASEAN battle for P3, 4 and 5. Darren is still looking nice and composed.
400 is definitely not an easy race to swim. Control is sometimes hard to have, especially when you're so excited to just race.
So his first 50 meters was 1:01. He's 1:45.35 through 1:50. And his lead is just being snicked away. And the stroke rate is slowing from Darren as we come into midpoint.
People often underestimate just how hard it is to control, you know, how much you put into a lap and how much to give for the next lap and the next lap. It's all about control, and it's a lot of training that goes into it.
Plus the adrenaline that he'll get, the adrenaline surge. When his name was announced, there was a big surge in the crowd, and he's got to control that. But his lead is there at 200 meters, but the lead, which was at one stage 5 seconds, has been whittled down to just 2 seconds, and Dawan Fredan and Swalang are now very, very close into his wake. But he's still looking controlled, Darren, and no matter where he finishes, I think he's learned some lessons from the heats into the finals this afternoon.
And we just had Darren's coach walk past us with his laptop, looking very, very, very focused.
But did he look happy or did he look glum?
He looks uncertain.
Well, Darren is still going to be leading through 250. As Darren 3:03.28, just half a second clear of Dawan Fredan.
Thank you for joining us here, supporting all our
And Darren is also just beginning to fatigue a little bit. The breathing is still looking controlled though. In P3 we have got Sualang. In P4 Arnel Abba has just turned 3:23.63.
All athletes looking a little tired, but I think they're due to start speeding up anytime now.
So into the final 100. At 300, the turn is at 3:41.89. Darren Chan has been leading from the very first dive. At the moment, it's almost fingertip stuff, but he's still looking good there and ready, perhaps, if he's been able to save something for the final stanza 2 years ago.
He looks like he's sped up his leg kicking just a little bit. You know, in these moments, you kind of feel like it's a computer game and you just want to get them to go faster.
Darren's an S14 swimmer, Dawan an S10 competitor, and it will be Dawan who just turns in first for the very first time, although the split time is just 400ths clear. A good bounce off the wall for Darren Cham, and it looks like he's got a surge of energy, and the Singaporean may well be urged home in this B final of the 425 meters to go. Darren Cham, is he able just to keep the leg kick going? He's under pressure from Dawan. His coach is urgently urging him on, but Dawan is able to just increase his stroke speed, and Dawan and Darren Cham working a final sprint for the line from Darren Cham, and touches first. 580 points for Darren. That is the leader in the B final, and he is a happy fella.
That is an amazing improvement from the morning heats.
He and his coach, who's just going in front of us, a big punch, thrilled to bits.
Just about 11 seconds off his morning heat time. I'm sure he's more than happy, and him and his coach.
And as we look at the other swimmers coming through, lane number 6 has just finished. That's 267 points. Over on the far side, lane number 1, which is Gary Pagino. He's just going to come through. Gary Pagino has got a chance to take this one. And Gary Pagino, 653 points, is the new winner of this B final. Nonetheless, well done for Darren Cham. Wasn't able to quite clinch it. 653 points for Gary Pagino. It was a fine win for the Filipino. A time of 5:43.67.
Nonetheless, still all amazing races here today at the OCBC Aquatic Centre.
But it will be second place in this B final. I was getting a bit excited. I was thinking it was a podium, but it's the B final, isn't it? But it's a B podium.
It's still a win. It's still second place. And an amazing time. Improvement from the morning heats, for sure.
I think that's the most impressive thing, isn't it? The control right from the very first, from the first dive to the first length to the first emergence, and the control that he showed right the way through from the first 50 in the first turn.
For sure. Being able to see the improvements that he's made just from morning to now is just speaking for what more to us to expect in the future.
So you put a big marker on your back there, Darren. That's the bad news. The good news is it's very, very encouraging.
This is Yiping Siu's brother and sister-in-law on the screen.
Like with the sister, finding out where the camera was. Here are the highlights of a thrilling B final. The man in lane 3 is the man that we were really very much focused on, Darren Chan from Singapore. He was leading by 5 seconds at 100. It was down to 3 seconds at 200. It was level pegging when they turned into 300, but he was able to hold on to touch first. A real good acceleration right at the end from Darren Teresa. And then he had to wait for Gary Pagino to work his way through to pick up the points in a time of 5:43.67. So a Philippines victory in the B final. But real kudos for Darren Chan for picking up P2. As we are just about to confirm, 653 points, 580 points gives Darren plenty to work with. The time inside 5 minutes. Dawan Freedom, good battle there, good cross-causeway battle. Dawan can be proud of his evening's work as well.
Ladies and gentlemen.